Ever since the dawn of humankind, we've sought the origins of our life and its purpose. Some have chosen to look to science, religion, or philosophy for answers. Many have turned to the great masters such as Lao-tzu, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ for spiritual illumination. Still others have sought truth through their own direct experience. All of us are searching, knowingly or unknowingly, for enlightenment, truth, and harmony in our lives. This program, hosted by Dr. Gregory Penn, will help you aspire to a more fulfilling and rewarding life.
Every day we take a step, we understand. The closer that we get, we'll find in who we are. We choose between the left and right, the ups and downs, the darkness or the light. We'll find in who we are. There's so many.
Good morning and welcome to Aspire. The question is it conscience or consciousness that is the most important thing in life? Religion has tried to create a conscience in us. What has that done to you? We're going to be talking about the realization of consciousness versus conscience. The idea of letting go of guilt for that of life and love. We're going to be working on our liberation and our understanding. Then in the second half of Aspire, I'm going to answer some of the questions that many of you viewers have written in. So come be with us for the next half hour of consciousness. All of us have the great opportunity of the possibility of life. We all have an opportunity to the great possibility of life, and yet very few of us ever seek to attain that possibility. Jesus put it this way: many are called, but few have chosen. And that would sum up the human race greatly. We are all called to the great possibility of life. But it seems that very few of us ever choose to work in it, to attain it, to develop it. When I say the word possibility, I often wonder what you must be thinking. I meet many New Thought students from all over the county who come to Unity of Escondido to visit, to counsel, and to talk. And it's an interesting thing about all of them. Most people in metaphysics or in truth have no idea what we are seeking to accomplish in this work. They have no idea what it's really about. They think that in some way it's a form of manipulation, of trying to get their children to do what they want them to have a better life, to have more money or more success, more cars, more homes, more people in their life. They're looking for that word success, and they think they'll find it in this kind of work, and that's not what it's all about at all. For the most part, many people are missing the whole act of spirituality, the whole movement of it. They are more concerned about what they can get of it rather than what they can learn through it. If you are more concerned about the possibilities of what it is you can get rather than who you are, then the possibilities, as Jesus said, are lost for you and for me. There is a possibility. For some people it is a distant hope. For other people it's nothing more than a blind philosophy. To other people, it's a mere concept, something that they play with. It's not necessarily something that is real to them. The possibility is an invitation within yourself. The possibility is for spiritual enlightenment. It beckons you and it beckons me every moment of our life. And yet the sad thing about it is that we overlook it. We think that spiritual enlightenment comes with years of experience, with years of learning, with years of reading, and it doesn't. Enlightenment comes with silence. Enlightenment comes with meditation. Enlightenment comes when we are tender and compassionate and sensitive enough within ourselves to see the purpose and the meaning behind our own life. Only in that sensitive silence, only in that moment, are we keen enough within ourselves to perceive that there is something more in our life than that of just the physical possibilities of living. You see, there's so much more to our life than what we really realize. Let me give you a definition of the word enlightenment. It is to be aware of the infinite, of the eternal. We are only aware of transitory things. We are aware of people and objects. We are aware of the needs maybe of society, of government, but we are not aware of the true potential that we have as a spiritual being. Enlightenment is beyond intellectual knowledge, beyond emotional attachment. True enlightenment is an awareness of the eternal that lives in us. It is not based on theory or hocus pocus. It's based on a deep meditative sensitivity within us. And it's achieved through our heart, not through our head. Many students misunderstand this. They think that enlightenment is gained through knowledge, following a guru, doing certain things in the physical, rituals. Not true. It is found in simplicity. The eternal lives in you. It is the Tao of your life. It is the very teaching that Jesus was seeking to offer to us, that Buddha was trying to get us to see. And it happens when you seek it with all of your heart. You have to drop everything to get there, though. Any burdens that you might have must be dropped immediately and quickly. You can't create enlightenment. Enlightenment is an occurrence within us. It's not something that we create. We can create things in this world such as artificial prosperity, artificial success. We can create those things and run around in fancy cars and fancy homes with fancy people and think that somehow in all of that we have created some sort of happiness. That is not enlightenment. Enlightenment is not created. It is experienced. It's a part of the whole of life, but it is only found in accepting yourself. Just as you are. You don't have to be more than what you are right now. You don't have to be a saint. You don't have to go back into another life and learn about yourself there and then find your enlightenment. But you and I do have to be born again. It is that spiritual birth that we need within ourselves. That's what the Master was trying to teach us. That spiritual birth brings about a new occurrence, a new spontaneity, a new sense of self. That second birth is not a creating, it creates us. All of our life we've been busy doing nothing more than trying to get and to have and to take. Enlightenment comes in learning to accept, to drop, and to let go. That's when we find our deepest sense of self. So the question becomes, how does one attain? How does one attain enlightenment? An individual who really practices this work learns that there is a difference between conscience and consciousness. Conscience is something that religion taught you to be. From the very moment you are born, you are taught to drop your sense of consciousness and to learn to become conscience. Conscience is where we are only concerned with our behavior, with what other people think of us, where guilt and fear are the major motivators of your life. Is that not what religion is all about? Religion does a couple of things. It tries to create a need in you and then capitalizes off of that need. It creates the need for fulfillment of fear. We even hear people in religion in the Western world talk about it as being God-fearing, and somehow that in being God-fearing there is something right about us. That is conscience. And as long as you live by conscience, you will live out of guilt, you will be concerned with morality, you will be concerned with what is right and wrong, good and bad. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Isn't that the way it should be? Well, you can be acting out what is moral, what is right, or what is wrong, what is good or what is bad, and still be far from the presence of enlightenment. Just because a person acts good doesn't mean necessarily they are. We've all acted phony at one time or another in our life. When a man lives by his conscience, he becomes duality. He becomes phony or pseudo. He isn't really living his life. He's living according to what other people expect of him or think of him or want him to be. That is not the way. Do you remember what the Master said? He talked about it that if we even thought an idea or accepted one within us, that we have done it. The person who lives by consciousness doesn't need a priest or a minister to tell them what to be. Doesn't need rules. The person who seeks consciousness expands their being to understand the nature of God, to understand that the Son of God lives within you and lives within me. The Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the Tao of life lives within us. Therefore, we don't need people to tell us what we should be doing and what we shouldn't. It becomes obvious within our heart. When it's obvious to us, who needs religion the way we have been taught it in this Western world? Who needs to take on beliefs and attitudes and religious dogmas and creeds? There is a vast difference between the individual who seeks consciousness rather than conscience. When we seek consciousness, we are open to life. We find life as a spiritual experience. We never limit it to the premises of what other people think is right and wrong, good and bad. Let me give you a little exercise to work with in this week. Drop your beliefs. That's the first thing. Let them go. You say, oh, I don't want to do that. I might do something wrong. Don't worry about it. Drop your beliefs. They all come from somebody who has taught you to believe that. It doesn't mean necessarily they're right. Second, look in your heart. Practice meditation. Sit in the silence of your being and learn to trust God within you, that infinite presence that lives within you. When Jesus said, I and the Father are one, he was talking about all of us, not just himself, that God lives in all of us. The man who lives in consciousness is open to the abundance of life. He trusts God within himself. And the deepest form of spiritual understanding is simple trust. Because so many of you have told us you enjoy me answering the mail on the television program, I thought I'd answer a few more of your questions and your comments, especially as it pertains to a little bit about what we're talking about. The first question comes from La Jolla. What should I do? I am bombarded by ministers and parents and society telling me what is right and wrong, good and bad. After listening to you on Aspire, I can see that I've never truly made up my mind as to what is right and wrong, good and bad. Can I listen to myself? And can I really trust me? Please understand something, my dear viewer. The first thing that religion tries to do in you is create doubt. That's the whole object of religion, to create a doubt in you and then make you think that you need the religion more than you can learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust your higher self. Learn to take time to practice living in the silence within yourself. There is that still small voice in every one of us, and we can listen to that voice and find the harmony and the movement that will lead us to kind and loving and right actions. The real question here is to listen and to trust ourselves. Don't listen to me. I am not here to tell you what to do, what to believe in, and what to think. If you notice, I never tell you that. But I do offer you opportunities, possibilities for you, if you will practice meditation and practice a few of the concepts that I've given to you, that you will open up inside. There will be a moment when your heart is open, your mind is open. Then you will learn to trust God for yourself. We don't need another religion in this world to tell us what to do and what is moral and what is right. The Father that lives within you knows that, and if you follow that and trust that, some great and beautiful things can happen to you. So, trust yourself and learn to practice love. Then you'll understand. Next question. You talk often that our purpose in life is only to achieve unconditional love. I love everything. And the things that I don't love or hate shouldn't be loved and should be hated anyway. Have I attained unconditional love? Not in the least. You haven't even come close to it. When one practices the nature of unconditional love, we learn to understand all things. Let me explain to you what unconditional love means. It's simply understanding things as they are without the need to try to change them, to manipulate them, or to make them what we think is right and proper. It is the ability to transcend the appearances and again, to just see things as they are. You see, the object of unconditional love is not to hate anything. We all dislike the idea of violence, of useless death and killing and things like that. But to hate them just creates an attachment to them. The object is to understand, how do they happen in this world? They happen because we are unconscious, because we live more in our conscious than we do in our consciousness. Moral people, I've noticed, who are bent on morality, are the most violent people of all. Moral people are those individuals who are afraid of themselves, who cannot govern themselves according to love and compassion, but need rules and other people to govern them, to tell them what is right and wrong. When we are practicing unconditional love, there is no hate in us. Do you think Jesus hated? He did not like the cruelty of this earth and some of the unkind things that he saw, but he never said to us, now I want you to love this and I want you to hate that. I think you should take a stand here and not take a stand there. I think if he could see the way some ministers talk today, I think he'd be quite disappointed. He'd probably say, oy vey, all of this in vain. You've missed the point. So my dear friend, no, you haven't come close, not even barely. Unconditional love has no hate in it. There are no stands to take. There's nothing left to do but to practice love and to seek to understand the nature of all things rather than take a stand and condemn or condone anything. Here's another letter. Comes from Escondido. When will I know that I have made it spiritually? Are there some signs that I can look for? When will we know when we've made it? There's no making it. There's never a making it. That creates an ego attachment, a desire. There's no such thing as making anything when we're dealing with our spirituality. You'll know when you are there because there will be a diminished sense of ambition, of desire, of wanting, of needing. There is that peace that we find within our soul, a sense of inner direction that we have never known before. We will never look at life the same way again. The way you and I look at life is through desire. We see so many things that we think we need or have to have or want. But when you look at an enlightened person, a Buddha, a lao-tzu, a Jesus, what's to need? What is there to want? What is there to have? They live in the now, and they experience the now. They are wholehearted in life. They are not half-minded. You'll know when you've made it. There will be a sense of peace, of tranquility and understanding. Your life will never be the same again. And one last thing on that. Don't try to get anything. Let it happen through you. Don't think that anything will happen, because when you live in anticipation and desire for something to happen, it never does. Let it happen. Enlightenment occurs spiritually when we least expect it, when we are less desirous, when we are just simply open and simple and not seeking the dramatic. It is the simplicity and the commonality of life that allows enlightenment to occur. Don't look for any kind of lightning bolts, dear friend. It just doesn't work that way. Here's another question. You gave a talk a few weeks ago on the television program and said that God could not be defined. This viewer says, I can define God, why can't you? There are no need to define God. I have no need to define the presence. To define God would simply to limit God. Definitions are of the mind, of the intellect, basically of the ego, of sensatory perception. God is a lot vaster than that. You know, when I first started the work, I too could give you definitions about God. I could give you definitions about a lot of things. I had every answer. But the more I started to pursue my spiritual side, the more I began to see that those definitions and those ideals, that ego attachment I had to all the answers, was getting me further and further and further away from my deeper life purposes, my sense of spirituality. I noticed as I dropped my definitions that new opportunities for understanding became very vivid and clear. I'm not telling you what to do, but I can say this to you. God needs no definition of Gregory Penn. All of life is the definition of God. To see one small part of God is to see the vastness of God. If you taste the ocean anywhere, it's as salty here as it will be in the Mediterranean, in the Baltic Sea, in the Pacific Ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean. That's the definition of God. God is everywhere. It doesn't need a definition. Definitions do nothing but limit the presence, limit our understanding, and confine God. Let God be, my dear friend. The last question, kind of an interesting one. What is morality, this viewer asks? I'm not sure I hear that in any of your speeches. You seem to skirt it, not telling us what we should or should not do or be. People need guidance. It is your responsibility to give us guidance. Are you afraid to do it? Yeah, I'm afraid to do it because who am I to give you guidance? I am not here to tell you what is right and wrong and what you should and should not do. That is something for you to understand in your heart. The only thing that I can offer to you are suggestions. I'm not a God. I'm a teacher. I'm a simple person. I do not take myself as the last word on any given subject, and yet the word lives within me as it lives within you. Morality is for those people, as I said earlier, who need religion to govern them, someone to tell them what to do. When you and I take a more meditative stance within us, a more kind and loving posture of our heart, who is to tell us anything? Our Father knows of our needs and guides us and directs us. Therefore, we don't need a minister or anyone to tell us what to do or what to be. We learn to trust in the presence of what we are. So, my dear friend, I'm not here to give you guidance. Some suggestions, some hints, and some inward looks. I thank you for your patience and your love. The single most important thing that we achieve is something that we call consciousness. I am very grateful that you chose to be with us this morning on Aspire. So many people miss their life because they don't create that opportunity for God. God is an opportunity, an invitation within your heart, and it is created through consciousness, not through conscience. Religious people, in my opinion, are the most hung up people in the world. They're hung up on guilt, and the things that they do, though they may seem kind or appropriate, are basically done out of guilt and fear. And any act done out of guilt and fear can never be an act of true love or compassion. Don't live out of your conscience. There you will find guilt. There you will find worry. There you will find not an openness to God, but some sort of fear of God. And isn't that what Western religions teach, a fear of God? Jesus, the great master, never taught us to fear God, but to love God with all of our mind, with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our strength. That's done out of consciousness, never out of conscience. Drop your conscience. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do or what to think or what to be. When you have created the space for consciousness, unconditional love will guide your way. It will be very obvious to you the things that need to be done through you. Kindness will not be an act. It will be a movement of God in you, a movement of life. A good man is not aware of his good acts. A good man is unaware of them. He moves with the spirit of life and love. Work with that thought this week. We appreciate your support. We hope to see you next week.
We choose between